And that's how we do it. All right, good evening and welcome, everybody. I have to wait for a second while it churns around and the wheels turn and the smoke comes out and you know how that goes. And then I can say
Whatever.
good evening and welcome, and it's nice to see everybody. It's time for the Monday evening Inner Flow Show. I'm your host, host with the most, something, David-Dorian Ross, and these are the fine people in the Zoom room. Say good evening, fine people.
I can.
Evening.
Well,
Good evening.
I know how fine they are, and that's all that matters. By the way, we are also live streaming directly to Facebook and YouTube, and as of this moment, there are exactly 0 eyeballs watching, but that's okay. They'll get wind of it sooner or later, and they'll come and join us. Or if you're watching it in the future, let me just say once again, welcome. And we have a new person in the Zoom room this evening. Sean, welcome. Lovely, lovely to have you.
Welcome.
And so for those people who are new or semi-new or watching in the future, let me tell you really quickly what we're going to be doing, because in just a moment, I am going to do the things I do best, put everybody to sleep. So just by listening to the sound of my voice. And then when we magically awaken, all of the stress and tension will have fallen away like the scales from your eyes. And I'm just mixing every metaphor that I can come up with all at once here. So that's what I've got planned. And when we come back, I have an announcement or two, and then a stress management tip for the week, something to take with you, something to use during the rest of the days of the week here. And that's all I got planned. And then I've already poured myself 1 cup of tea, and by the time we're done, I'm likely to pour myself another. So we should just get to it, shouldn't we? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Here's all you need to do is just kind of settle back. If you want to dim the lights, you can dim the lights or ease back the controls on your Barcalounger, whatever you got there. While you're doing that, I'll tell you a quick story. When my wife and I first met, I had this really, really ugly rocking chair. It was covered in a fabric that was all books. It was just prints of books, and it was so old it looked like it had been stolen from someone's library in a small town somewhere. And she hated the chair and thought we would never have it in any room of our house if we ever lived together. So we went camping, or we went up to the mountains and rented a cabin. And in the front room of the cabin was the mate to that chair. So it was
Oh,
fate. It was destiny.
did you put
Anyway,
them together?
no, we didn't. I think I scared her that weekend. I don't think she talked to me for a week after that. But that's another story. So we'll get to that in time. Tell you what, having said all that, let's just get the party started. Just before we begin, let's talk about the fact that there's no right or wrong way to relax. Your mind and body and spirit will release and relax and renew at its own pace. So there's no need to worry that you have to see anything or keep up with anyone. And one more thing, from time to time, as you discover new depths of relaxation, you might actually feel uncomfortable or unexpectedly feel nervous, scared, or even angry. Don't worry about this because it happens all the time. But if this does happen, what we recommend is that you come on out of your relaxation. Just take a deep breath, let your eyes flutter open, and shake out your hands and fingers. And then you can leave and come back another day Or you can just sit and listen, but from a distance. All of this is okay. And it doesn't matter when you do it, at the very beginning of the relaxation, right up until the last minute. This is all about what feels right for you, because this is your journey. To start, let's find a comfortable position, lying down or reclining in a chair. You might choose to have a cushion under your head and a blanket over your legs if that feels good. Now, close your eyes and begin to focus your attention on your breath. Take a deep breath in and slowly release it. Let your breath be natural without trying to control it in any way. Just observe it and let your mind be at peace. Just observe it and let your mind. As you continue to focus on your breath, bring your attention to your feet. Pay attention to any sensations that you are feeling in your feet. Do you feel any tension, discomfort, or pain? Simply observe it without trying to change it. Just let it be. Now, move your attention up to your ankles and calves. Observe any tensions that you're feeling and just let them be. Don't judge them. Simply acknowledge them. Next, bring your attention to your knees and thighs. Focus in on any sensations that you're feeling and just let them be. Remember, this is not a time to try and change anything. It's simply observing and acknowledging. Now move your attention to your hips and pelvis. Observe any sensations that you're feeling and just let them be. Slowly move your attention up to your lower back and all the way up the spine. You're observing your sensations, just letting them be, and not trying to change anything about them. Now, bring your attention to your mid-back and chest. With imaginary hands, you just lightly touch the chest muscles and observe any sensations, just allowing them to happen. Next, bring your attention to your upper back and shoulders. Observe any sensations that you're feeling. You might feel tension in the neck or stiffness in the shoulders. Or you might feel relaxed by this time. Might feel heavy and loose. Either way, just observe. Just let it be. Now, move your attention to your arms and hands and fingers. If you observe any tension in any of these body parts, just make a note, file it away, and move on. Now, take a moment to scan your entire body, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. You're observing any sensations that you're feeling, but now on a much grander scale, the whole body. And if you observe any sensations, which might be tingling or heaviness, or tension or relaxation, or activation or quiet, just let them be. As you continue to focus on your breath and scan your body, notice how you're feeling. Throughout this process, have you noticed any changes in how your body or your mind is feeling? Just as we let go of sensations in the body, let any thoughts or feelings or emotions come and go, and continue to simply focus on your breath. And with each breath, you feel yourself relaxing more and more deeply. Your whole body is becoming heavier and softer and more relaxed as each moment passes. All of the stress and tension has drained away from the muscles of your body. So it's now as if there was no more tension, no more stress, and no more worry. Now, not yet, but in a moment, we'll come out of our deep relaxation. But we won't do it fast. We'll do it nice and slow by counting backwards from 5 to 1. And notice that when we get to 1, all of the deep calm and relaxation that you feel right now will stay with you for the rest of the day and into the evening and through the long night of restful sleep and pleasant dreams until you awaken bright and refreshed in the morning. Now here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let your eyes gently flutter open. Light got so bright there for a moment. It's so very nice to see everybody sort of let it all go. I'm glad that we have this opportunity to share this together. Now I'm deliberately trying to be a bit quieter because I don't want to disrupt the nice vibes that we have going on. So let me just sort of quietly give you the announcements that I have and the reminders, and then very, very special stress management tip. Something I haven't shared before. So those of you who are here, lucky you. It's good stuff. The announcement that I'm really want to make is to let everybody know that we are in supposedly the last day of the registration for the Intro to Flow session. It's coming right up like in a week, but we've decided to keep the window open. So if you've got a friend that you want to take this series with me, this may be one of the last times I do the series, or it won't be as regularly always me doing the series. So this is a good one to make sure you get your friends in on. And there'll be a lot of posts going out over the Facebook page, and if you're on the mailing list, out to you in emails letting you know where to go to do all that kind of stuff. I don't know. They don't give me that information. I just have to point you to it, and then you can go there. The other announcement that I want to continue to make is to remember that I'm not the only one doing the flow shows, neither the Monday evening inner flow show nor the daily flow shows. There's a ton of really, really amazing teachers. I have the privilege of being able to go in and watch some of them do their flow shows. Many of them are just beginning, and already they're just tremendous. So I want to encourage you to go to the website, igfit.net, and look up at the very top where it says Flow Show Calendar. Check out when some of those other flow shows are, and go and visit them. Find new people, make new friends, and check those people out. And on that note, I will be here tomorrow morning for the Tuesday morning flow show, and I'm hoping that you will all come and join me there, because tomorrow I am going to link up in movement the stuff I'm going to tell you about right now. So it's a twofer. You'll get a twofer out of this one. And which leads me to my stress management tip. So there's a wonderful book that we refer to in our courses sometimes, and that my wife, who's a psychotherapist, uses all the time as a recommended reading, called The Body Keeps the Score. The Body Keeps the Score. And it talks about, among other things, the fact that we store our history, our stress, our traumas, our thoughts, our beliefs in the very tissues of our body. And one of the ways that we do that is by getting into patterns of motion, patterns of posture, patterns of repetitive kinds of movement. I tell this story all the time that I'm someday going to get arrested for stalking people in the airport because if you just watch, I mean, I spend a lot of time in airports, so that's why I get a chance to do a lot of people watching. If you just watch, you can see the habits that people have, the way that they walk, the way their feet point, the way that they sometimes tilt to one side. All these things are just sort of unconscious habits. And those unconscious habits unconsciously get associated with our mood, with our feelings of stress and anxiety and the big four, the big four unhelpful emotions: shame, guilt, fear, and anger. Those are what I call the big four. Now, the good news is that the same principles which sort of embody all that stuff in us can also be used to turn that around, to get rid of the stress, to let go of the shame, guilt, fear, and anger through body movement, and especially through specific movements of our Tai Chi and Tai Chi Fit. And I'll give you some examples. So one of the ways that we can let go of shame is by changing our posture. If you think about it, there's a certain posture associated with a feeling of shame, right? It is a withdrawal from the world. It is a trying to hide our face, both figuratively and literally, from the rest of the world. And so it's this kind of, drawn in, withdrawn, shameful, I'm trying to think of another word, kind of posture. But in Tai Chi and in Qigong, we have another movement that will change that. It's literally the reverse of that, called the bear. And in the bear Qigong, we actually come from this kind of shameful posture and open up. And then, once again, open up. Right? And so little by little, we reverse that. We change position, change posture, get out of the posture of the feeling of guilt and do something different. Speaking of guilt, one of the things that frees us from that feeling is just to be expressive. Like oftentimes guilt is something that we hide. We don't want to speak about it because that's why we feel guilty. But in point of fact, that's the very remedy for guiltful feelings. Just open up, say it out loud, get rid of it. Now, that might be really scary to do with your voice and to say the things that you feel guilty about, but we can do it with our bodies. So there's a pair of movements that we do called the Princess in the Valley and the Princess on the Mountaintop. And these are movements that go open up, open all the way around, and then take it and grab it and open it up to the world again. This movement of the body says what we may not feel like saying with our mouths and our tongue. Right? What about fear? Right? Well, fear is counterbalanced by courage. And courage, as I've said before, it's not the same thing as bravery or fearlessness. It means that I take on the thing that I'm most afraid of willingly for the benefit of other people. That's what courage is, an act of the heart. And so guess what? In our Tai Chi Fit repertoire, we have a movement called the heart opening, right? We balance out the chi energy from the heart to the belly and then finally open out and, give it away. Open the heart and give it out there, the opening of the heart, right? And finally, anger, right? By the way, anger is not that's necessarily a terrible kind of emotion to have. It's a bridge emotion. It's a bridge from some of those darker, self-destructive kind of emotions into higher feelings and higher energy levels, right? So sometimes anger is quite useful, but if you get stuck in it, it's not good for anybody. So what's the counterbalance to anger is kindness and gentleness, right? Doesn't that make sense? So we have a movement in Tai Chi called Lu, which means to pet, to stroke, like you'd stroke a beard or stroke the kitten or something like this. And it's just softly moving on down, big circle all the way around. All right, so this is difficult to see while I'm sitting down here. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Tomorrow morning in the Tuesday morning flow show, we're going to go through all of these movements in the routine that I have for you in the morning, and we'll talk a little bit about them. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. That's my invitation, is to come to the flow show tomorrow and do these with me. And that's your stress management tip of the week. Anyway, as always, I really appreciate that you allow me to share those things with you. Now, tea time, my friends. Go have a good one. There you go. Dee's got The Body Keeps the Score. That's right there on our bookshelf. It's a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. Have a great evening, everybody. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. See you in the morning.